So hi everyone. In this video, we will see how we can make an API calls, what are API calls, and how ChatGPT was made using these API calls. We will also dive deep into API documentation of GPT models. So there are a lot of questions around: do we really need to know coding, or do we need any particular programming language to make these API calls? So the answer to that is no. Unless you are building your own softwares using AI, you don't really need to know your programming language for building chatbots. You can the softwares like VoiceFlow or WordPress, they do it automatically in the backend, so you don't really need to do it. So let's just dive deep into what are API calls. So what exactly is API? In order to make you understand API, I will tell you a story. Imagine there is a door between you and your friend, and in order to interact with your friend, you have to follow certain rules. The rule is you have to knock exactly 3 times in order to get a reply. If you knock 2 times, you won't get a reply. If you knock 4 times, you won't get a reply. You have to knock exactly 3 times. So you are following a certain pattern, a certain format to make a request, and you will get a response, right? So this is what exactly API is. API stands for Application Programming Interface. These are the rules that you have to follow in order to interact with a backend service. So now you can imagine how ChatGPT would have been made. ChatGPT is a client that you are a client that you are typing something on ChatGPT. GPT models are your friend behind the door, and the API is between that. You have to send a request in a certain format in order to get a reply from GPT model in a certain format, right? So this is what exactly ChatGPT. This is what exactly API is. So now that you have understood what API calls are, we will deep dive into API documentation of GPT models, so you will get a better understanding of it, and we will also see what are the system messages and user messages. So first of all, you have to come to this website, that is platform.openai.com. Inside docs and inside text generation, you have to go to this section where we will find 3 types of messages, that is user message, system message, and assistant message. I would recommend you to read the whole documentation so you will get a better understanding of how you can use these GPT models other than chatbots also. So for now, we will see into different types of messages. The first one is user message. User message is nothing but in ChatGPT when we type something, it it sends a request to GPT models, and the text that we are typing is referred to as the user message. The role here is user, and whatever you are typing in ChatGPT is a user message, right? The second one is system message. This is the most important thing because it tells GPT models how it should behave. So, for example, in case of ChatGPT, the system message would be uh, you are a you are a chat assistant which will help user to understand the concept that he or she is trying to understand, and you will return a query, right? You will return a answer based on the context that user is asking a question, right? This could be the system message or a system message for the chat GPT. Here also you can see the example. It is clearly given that you are a helpful assistant that answers programming question in the style of Southern Belief or Southeast United States. I don't know what it is, but yeah, you get the concept what I'm trying to say. The last one is the assistant message. Now, what assistant message is? It really helps to provide context to the GPT model, how it should reply, what in what format it should give the response, right? So assistant message here they have also given a good example of knock knock jokes. It tells GPT model to interact in certain manner. Okay, so this is what assistant messages are. Now we will go to API references. So in API references, you should read all this authentication, making requests, streaming, etc. But in but what I really want to show you inside chats, you have to look into all of this. Just a minute. Inside chats, You have to go to create chat, and here it is. This is the request body I was talking about earlier. So what are the things that you have to send in a request to interact with GPT models, right? So here is the whole code. You don't need a code. You just need to understand the concept why we are sending certain things. So the first that is required field is messages. As I told you, there are three types of messages, and you have to send these types of messages inside this message array. The more messages you will give, it will provide a context to GPT models to interact in that manner. Then you have to specify the model, to which model you are trying to communicate with. There are different types of model like GPT-4, GPT 3.4 Turbo, etc., etc. Right? And now there are other bunch of stuff that you would have to read. These are not required, but there are some important max tokens that is deprecated and max completion tokens. It is the total number of tokens that you can share in a particular request. Like, okay, for every model, these tokens are different. So you have to keep in mind. This will help you reduce the cost of the application that you are making, right? So that's it for this video. I think you got the gist of what API is, and in the next video we will see different softwares like VoiceFlow and .Press, etc. Thank you.